What are the questions?
Okay, when you speak on value versus growth, can you narrow a few sectors apart from technology that seemed to a common play by investors?
Like I told you, right? Because the situation is still very fluid now. Okay, so you got to depend on the situation, right? If you know that the yield curve is flattening, so what do? You avoid financial stocks, right? Which I already told you guys, isn't it? But you find that the yield curve is not flattening, but the 10-year treasury notes, the yield keep on spiking up, then financial stocks is good, isn't it? So you need to assess the situation. I can't tell you because situation is so fluid. If there's another multiple wave of pandemic, what do? Definitely you look for stay-at-home stocks, right? Stocks that support stay-at-home, work from home. Like I said, so this is how you do it. Okay, so this is how you do it. So that I can't tell you because situation is so fluid. Okay, situation is so fluid. For example, like I told you just now, if Joe Biden is able to get the infrastructure program passed through and approved by the Congress, so what stocks should you be looking at? Industrial stocks, isn't it? Material stocks, right? So these are the things. And if part of this infrastructure program is construction of battery charging station, then you should know what stocks to look at, right? Because that means there will be more demand for electric vehicles. Isn't it? So you need to think. Okay, there's no way for me to tell you what are the stocks because situation is so fluid at this point of time. Okay, this is what I've been repeating just now. So you got to look at the stock market as if you are a businessman. Okay, if this kind of scenario happens, what do you think? Which sector will tend to benefit? Or which sector will tend to suffer more? The sector that tends to suffer more, what do? You avoid. Okay? The sector that tend to benefit more from certain crises, you may want to take a look at it. Okay? So it's not possible for me to tell you because situation is so fluid at this point of time. Because there's no guarantee that Joe Biden can get the Congress to approve his infrastructure program because the Republicans are not cooperating with him. Okay? So, and then inflation, how high inflation is going to be is a big question mark, isn't it? So you just need to keep track of the market updates that we publish every day. Okay? So from the market updates, you will have an idea what are the sectors to look at. Yeah. What are the other questions?
Alright, next. Do you think now is a good time to enter SPY and SMH ETF?
Okay, you need to look at the chart. Okay, I can't tell you now. You need to look at the chart. Okay, it all depends whether are you trading or investing. As far as I'm concerned, US stocks is not the time for investing because most of them are near record high. Okay, most of them are near record high. So if you want to invest, then you need to wait for a correction. Okay, in fact, you may even need to wait for a market crash before you can go in and do bargain hunting. Now you find that Nasdaq, Dow Jones, S&P 500 are all near record high. How to invest? But if you want to trade just to get some small money, yes, possible. But if you want to invest, now is not the time to invest. Okay. Now, for those of you who are really into investing, because of time, I can't show you much. So if you join our Telegram channel, you participate in our learning activity, that's where you get to learn more from me. Okay. Now, and all our learning activities are free. Okay, except for certain bonus courses, we restrict it to our paid subscriber. Okay. Basically, if you are looking to invest, it's very simple, ETF. Okay. And I always jokingly tell people, then you may want to invest in Berkshire Hathaway, isn't it? Warren Buffett's share. Okay, but now it's too high. So what do? You wait for it to have a steep correction. Then it's worth going in, right? I don't understand why people, like I say, need to pay so much money to learn value investing for US stocks. When you just buy Warren Buffett stock and let him make all the decision for you, that would be very easy. Okay, it's very easy. But of course, you need to know that you need to apply technical analysis to find out when is a good time at what price, before you enter. Okay, next question.
Which also leads to what are the two ETFs for growth and value stocks?
Okay, VTV and VUG.
No. Oh, okay.
Okay, these two ETF are available with CGS CIMB. The margin, if I'm not wrong, is the margin is 20%. Okay, I already checked. The margin for these two ETF with CGS CIMB is 20%. If you are trading using CFD, okay.
All right.
Otherwise, you can just pick up or you can choose Cathie Wood. Some of you may know who is Cathie Wood. ARKK, ARKF. These are the two ETF which are most common under Cathie Wood. The rest are still relatively quite new. Okay, but then at this point of time, it's a bit on the high side. Actually, it dropped a lot already. I wouldn't say it's on the high side because Cathie Wood, her ARK ETF has not been performing well this year. If I'm not wrong, I think it's about 15, 20, or even more than 20% of the record high. Okay, so you need to be careful. Just because it's 20% of the record high doesn't mean now can go in. You need to look at the chart.
Is QQQ a good time to enter?
What do you think? Right, QQQ is NASDAQ. I told you, NASDAQ is near record high. In fact, it already went record high, right? I think yesterday. So if you are looking to invest, like I just told you, it's near record high. Why would you want to invest? But you can trade, right? You can trade. Okay? Near record high, you can still trade. The fact that it's near record high, it could mean that it has a lot of bullish momentum. Okay? But it's not a good price to go in if you are investing. Because when you are investing, you want to buy as low as possible, isn't it? Okay?
Okay, next question. Hi Clarence, can you share more about US stocks like PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, e-commerce? Are they considered value stocks?
Visa may be value stocks, okay, or cyclical stocks. Visa may not be considered value stock, but they could be financial stocks, okay. PayPal definitely is a tech stock, okay. It's under growth stock for PayPal. You see, some certain stock like okay, offhand I can't. Certain stock, they are actually both. Because they are actually a growth stock, but at the same time, they are also acting like a cyclical stock. So they actually behave both. So you're not sure what you do. Make things easy. You just invest in the value stock ETF. Okay? So the value stock ETF is the VTV. Growth stock is VUG. Okay, but don't anyhow enter and buy, okay? Because you need to do your own technical analysis. Like I say, if you buy now, you may get caught at the high. When the market come down, have a steep correction. Like I say, this whole week, there's a lineup of so many FOMC members speaking. Market may be very, quite either very muted or very volatile. That means they can be very extreme. Okay, so you need to do a lot of homework. Okay, you need to do a lot of homework.
Your alarm set for tomorrow at 1 a.m.
Sorry, that was my Google Home. Alright, next, if the inflation won't be transitory and will be high, will there be higher stock prices as well? Asset bubble everywhere in stock market as well?
If inflation is high, why would stock go up?
By the way, the mic's off.
Right? Why would it translate to higher prices? I don't understand. Right? Because inflation will ultimately lead to a recession. Okay? This is the reason that if inflation is no longer transitory, then the Federal Reserve or FOMC need to have the rate hike even faster. Isn't it? They need to have a faster rate hike in order to prevent inflation from going out of control. Okay. The problem with US stocks is unlike Singapore stocks. Singapore stocks basically depend on a lot of fundamentals. Earnings, economic performance, but in US it's basically based on what? QE, liquidity, low interest rate. This is like, because they have been spoiled by the Federal Reserve, giving them a lot of steroid. Now suddenly the steroid need to be reduced or removed. They cannot take it because they are so addicted to liquidity. This is the fundamental problem with US stocks. So you need to be very careful. So sometimes, like I say, if you have listened to me carefully, if it's an economic crisis, value stock will recover faster. Value stock will not drop so much. Of course, they will drop, economic crisis, but they will not drop so much, but they will tend to recover faster. Remember just now we talked about the 4 years where Dow Jones outperformed NASDAQ, and these 4 years are all years of some form of crisis, right? So, they are mainly economic crisis. So, during years where there is economic crisis, you find that the old school Dow Jones tend to outperform NASDAQ because value stock, they have value. They have proven to able to perform with good earnings. Their PE ratio are still very conservative, prudent. So they tend to outperform growth stocks. But if it's a pandemic-related crisis, it's different. Right? Pandemic, basically you need tech, right? You need technology to work from home, stay at home, see doctor also. Doctor can diagnose you, prescribe medication through the phone. Okay, so you need technology. Then payment gateway tend to do well because you order grocery online, so you make payment through PayPal, right? Because US will definitely use PayPal. Okay, not like Singapore. Singapore, we tend to use PayLah, PayNow, all those. Okay, so like I said, you need to understand. So all this we have already covered just now. So you need to. The easiest thing is what? Read my daily market update. That will solve everything. Like I say, I'm not able to predict anything because everything is so fluid at this point of time. Okay? So it doesn't mean crisis. Only one SOP, you need to understand what kind of crisis. Pandemic-related crisis, economic-related crisis, or it can be both. But it is both one more time, I can tell you, gone case. I tell you. Okay? You know why? Because interest rate is so low, how to cut? How to have a rate cut? And Jerome Powell did say that Federal Reserve is not in favor of negative interest rate. Unlike Japan, Europe, in the EU, right, they have negative interest rate. And then QE is already maxed out because now they're actually having almost near unlimited QE. So another crisis come, they got no more downside room to cut interest rate. That's it. Okay, that's it. Now, I have always been a bull supporter of a bull run. Okay, since 2016, I have every year I tell people bull run. Okay, those of you who have been with me since 2016 will know. I don't care whether trade war, I don't care who's the president of US, bull run. But now it's different because inflation. Because you see, for past 10 years, inflation has been very muted. But this time, inflation is real. And it's not just in US, also in Singapore, in China, and so forth. Okay, so it's a different scenario. So when scenario change, you need to be very careful. Okay. Okay, next.
The situation is fluid. Better to invest or trade. Crash buy since the situation is fluid.
It's all up to your risk appetite, right? But main thing you must read the chart carefully. Even trade doesn't mean you must know what to trade, right? Right or wrong? Doesn't mean you trade, you just take any stock and trade. That's why it's not so simple. You need to participate in our learning activity.
Okay, next question. Will commodities continue to go up after the current correction?
Depends on which commodity. When you say commodity, which commodity?
Okay, next question. Will flattening yield curve affect Singapore bank stocks?
Unlikely. Okay, Singapore interest rate is never, although we tend to follow rate hike. If US they have a rate hike, Singapore interest rate may tend to follow. Okay, may tend to follow. But then also depends on the demand for liquidity. Okay, depend on the demand for liquidity, because you see interest rate in Singapore is never determined by MAS. Although MAS is the de facto central bank, but MAS doesn't care about interest rate. So interest rate is actually determined by the interbank rate. Okay, so it depends on demand and supply of money. Okay, depends on demand and supply of money. So it may impact, but not much of it doesn't really impact much.
Okay, next question. What are the signals of the pending market correction that we can take note of so we can get ready to
Just look at the chart. Okay, signal very simple. Yield curve, treasury notes yield, whether are they spiking out, spiking down, right? Inflation. Because the inflation is too high, that means what? Economy is overheated, right? So economic data. But you don't just depend on one data. You need to look at a host of data. Okay, you need to look at the host of data. It's not just.
Okay. What is the reason commodity shares like gold, silver, copper price dropped sharply recently?
Very simple. Recently, gold dropped, right? Remember last week after the FOMC, gold and silver came down a lot, right? You must understand that all these commodities are priced in US dollar, right? So after the FOMC last week, what happened to US dollar? US dollar strengthened. So when US dollar strengthen, usually what happens? Usually, but not all the time, find that price of gold start to come down. But not all the time like that, because like I say, it's not about signs and symptoms. It's about what causes these signs and symptoms. So you need to study the whole scenario. So it's not so straightforward.
Right. Are Biden-friendly stocks such as ICLN and YOLO a good stock to invest now? My holding period is 5 years.
If you got holding power, then okay. If you are investing, what do? You wait for the stock to drop, right? Isn't it? And you tell me your window period is 5 years, then I take it that you have holding power for 5 years. That means you got money, spare cash that you don't need for 5 years.
Okay.
If you are investing, you buy on dip. But you don't keep on buying on dip, because if you keep on buying on dip, what happens? All your cash all gone. As an investor, you should not be fully invested. Okay, anytime you should have cash on hand. Okay, that means you must also know when to take profit, so that you got cash come in to buy other good stocks, fundamentally strong stocks at a lower price. Okay, so for example, you are $100,000. Please do not make your full $100,000 become fully invested. So you must at least have $20,000 cash on hand, right? Okay, otherwise you got opportunity, but you got no cash to invest. So for example, $100,000. So your $80,000 fully invested, $20,000 cash on hand. Then you find that you got another opportunity. You throw in $10,000. So balance you got another $10,000, right? So now you got $90,000 invested. You got $10,000 cash on hand. So what do? Now you only left $10,000, no? So before you invest this $10,000, you must learn to extract some profit from your investment. So you need to go and rebalance your investment, take some profit out, so that you become $80,000 fully invested, $20,000 cash on hand. The problem with a lot of people is that when they invest, they do not know when to exit. Okay, whether you are trading or investing, you must have an exit plan. Okay, the problem is a lot of people, they say, oh, I park my money there for 5 years. That means their exit plan depends on the timing. No, your exit plan should depend on certain fundamentals, isn't it? So for a particular stock, if the fundamental has changed from good to bad, you must exit what? You cannot keep on holding on to it. Okay, so you need to have an exit plan. In fact, this coming weekend, I'm going to have a value investing class, but it's only for my subscriber. Okay, registration will start maybe on Thursday. That is investing. But trading is different. Okay, trading, because it's short term, so fundamental is not so important. Fundamental is important only for entry. But exit basically is go by technical. Okay, exit is go by technical.
Okay, next question. If there is a chip shortage, why chip stocks like TSM, AEM are not growing?
Okay, very simple. Shortage of chip, right? So how many chips can they sell? They used to sell 100,000 chips in a month. Now they can only sell 20,000 chips in a month. So how much do you think is the revenue? Even, let's say, you say shortage of chips, so I increase price. If you increase price, come on. How much can you increase? Right? And you increase price, that means what? People may not buy from you, right? They can get from other sources. This is the reason why a lot of people thought that shortage of microchips, so good to buy semiconductor stocks. But precisely because they are shortage, so they can't sell more. They can't sell more, so they have to sell less. If they sell less, how to have good revenue? Right?
Okay, next question. How will EV clean energy stocks be affected by current news fundamentals?
You see, you need to look, I told you just now, if Joe Biden can get his infrastructure program through, okay, and part of his infrastructure program includes the battery charging station network, then demand for EV will go up, isn't it? Current situation is there a need for people to go and buy EV? Let's say Singapore, no, right? US, no, right? Unless the infrastructure, the facilities are there available, like charging the battery. In China is pushing for EV and AV, okay, because China is a big country, okay, and they have a lot of EV stocks coming up. Okay? China is pushing. This is the reason why you need to read my daily market update so that you know what's happening. Right? Because you must understand market fundamentals for China market, Hong Kong market, and US market are different. The economy also different. Isn't it? So you cannot say EV is the way to go. But let me tell you something. Now the renewable energy, lithium battery is already considered toxic. Because it's not easy to dispose lithium battery because it's toxic. So people are now looking for renewable energy. Because lithium is not renewable. No? Because you still got to charge. Now people are looking into clean energy. Lithium is not a clean energy. Lithium battery is not considered clean energy. Okay, now people are looking into what? Renewable energy for airplane. But this is not going to be soon. It may take another 10 years for it to happen. Okay, hydrogen. Okay, some of you, if you have been reading, you will know that they're exploring the use of hydrogen as fuel, especially for plane. Why? Hydrogen is very light. Okay, so eventually they may use hydrogen for vehicle. Okay, for vehicle. Because lithium is scarce. Okay, lithium is scarce. Eventually all the lithium will be mined outward. Then you find that there's scarcity in lithium. Right, because how long can you charge the battery? Right, our phone battery already cannot last long, right? You overcharge, tends to the lifespan of the battery tend to become shorter and shorter. But then, if you use hydrogen, hydrogen is part of the atmosphere, isn't it? So it's renewable, it's clean, it's part of nature. You don't need to mine, you just take from the air. Okay, lithium you need to mine, and it's scarce. Okay, it's scarce. That's why you need to read a lot. Okay, you need to read a lot. A lot of people just focus in trying to make money, but they don't want to understand they don't want to read to understand what's happening in the market. That's the problem, see. So it's good to read because it will prevent dementia. Okay, can we have one last question?
Okay, one last question. PFE, NIO, TMO, SE, what is your take?
What, sorry?
PFE, NIO, TMO, SE, what is your take?
I got no take. I need to look at the technical.
Okay.
Definitely NIO, my understanding of NIO from what I read is definitely better than Tesla.
Okay. Do you want to do one more question?
Okay, one last question.
Not really related to stocks, but how about Bitcoin? Is 32,000 a good entry point?
Bitcoin is good. Okay, let me check my Bitcoin chart.
Okay, well,
Bitcoin is dropping. Today is at the day low. Bitcoin now is doing coming to 30,000. Bitcoin is still dropping. You look at Ethereum is now 18,000. It's dropping, all dropping. Why? If you have been reading my daily market update, you will know China is clamping on all the crypto. They ban all the mining. Now China, in fact, I already posted my daily market update for Asia session. If you have read under the China market section, you will know that China is even asking Alipay all this to ban crypto. Because a lot of people are using payment gateway to smuggle the money, all this, doing money laundry. If you have shorted crypto, if you have shorted Bitcoin, Ethereum, all this, you have make a lot of money. Right?
Alright, thanks Clarence. So before we wrap up, for clients who are interested to see, your wealth in a different perspective, you can actually sign up for our Fortune Guide event, which will be on the 6th July 2021 from 7 to 8 p.m. Just need to click on the banner here on our website, cft.cgsscmb.com.sg. The website, our website can be found under the chat function in the Zoom. So click on that if you are interested to join the event. Okay. If not, thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Okay, see you all guys.